I keep hearing this $23 million for some green space we owe or something. What is that? I don't really understand what that is. And question one, and number two, can you enumerate 2 or 3 things where you can cut $2 or $3 million out of the budget?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I like seeing it. I mean, I've been in business a long time, and I have cut a lot of budgets.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard the county or the federal government come up with anything they're cutting.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'll give you examples of of how they swing and miss, like I did when I was a 9-year-old baseball player, at cutting the budget as well. And you know, I think what you're talking about, referring to, is one of the cornerstones of Mike Boyce's campaign a couple of years ago. I believe the way he said it was, you know, we could vote on a $40 million park bond, but we can't vote on a $400 million stadium. And that the parks bond was a broken promise. They put the parks bond in front of the voters. The voters voted overwhelmingly, spend my money on parks. I overwhelmingly approve, spend my money on parks. The board decided that because there was a shift in the economy, which that wasn't on the ballot, it wasn't on the ballot, didn't say if there's not a shift in the economy, buy these parks. And the Board of Commissioners did not follow through on that bond vote. They simply ignored it. They said, no, okay, we're just not going to do it now. And then when it came time to purchase a stadium, they said, we're afraid that won't pass a bond vote, and so we're just going to do it. So by doing those two things in combination, they really took away our right to make those decisions. They took away our ability to make the decision. We voted on something, didn't get done. Then they did what they wanted without putting it in front of us. And now, because so much time has passed, you know, 15 years ago we could have bought $40 million worth of parkland. Now, you know, land is a lot more expensive, and a lot of the land is gone. It's been developed, and so we can't buy the same land now that we could have back then if we had initiated that. Not we would follow through with that bond. And then, I'm sorry, follow up on the expenditures. One of the recent cuts that was almost laughable was, okay, we're going to close this office, okay, and that's going to cut a certain number of employees, and it's going to cut our spending on personnel. Right? Then I found out later that the move, this was kind of cutting in East Cobb, cutting a satellite office where you could get some things done administratively. That really you can do online. You can do all of them online now. But so we made these cuts, but the net result of the cuts was we added 2 employees. Because we had to move them from one place to another, and now their responsibilities were a little bit different, and they answer to a different person, and they're going to a different building for work. Now I got to fill this gap, and I got to fill this gap now. And so the net result of the savings was to add 2 employees. You know what? That's just what government does if you let it. Okay? To think about this, we've all heard this from a federal standpoint, because a cut is when you change something from going up 20% to going up 18%. Okay, that's a cut in spending. And you know, the only way to really cut is to go back to the first pillar of my campaign and say, is this the best use of taxpayer dollars? And look at every line on every budget. Because we're spending things that have nothing to do with quality service at a reasonable cost. Giving money to charities has nothing to do with that. Giving money to the Braves has nothing to do with that. So that's where you go. Every line, you ask yourself that question. And you'll hear it a lot. If I'm elected, I'll ask it out loud.